Hi, I'm Charles Band, and this is Full Moon's Video Zone. Retro Puppet Master, a new departure for the Puppet Master series. I hope you all liked it. It was a big film for us, turn of the century setting, a young Andre Toulon, and of course we designed all new puppets, or I should say old puppets, since they are the precursors of the puppets as we've known them for the last six Puppet Master movies. As you know, we're in the action figure business, and all of these characters will be available as action figures. One of our plans, of course, is to eventually wind up with so many characters from so many of these films that we'll begin to team them up and pit them against each other. And the first film of that sort will be out next year in the year 2000, called Puppet Master versus the Demonic Toys. So we'll have some fun with that. And we have Ragdoll, which is our first urban release under the new Alchemy label. There'll also be a CD out with a number of songs. It's a CD compilation. That'll be out towards the end of the year, maybe in January. As you can see behind me is the key art for The Dead Hate the Living. This is a real return to the classic straight horror zombie movie. We have some wonderful effects. Dave Parker directed this movie. I think did a great job. I've seen some of the footage that's being edited right now, and it's really scary and a lot of fun. We have a new Trancers movie. It's exciting to have Tim Thomerson as Jack Death come back, and we're also hoping to have another Dollman film, which means we may work with Tim twice next year. But all in all, it's been 11 great years for Full Moon, and I'll see you on the next edition of the Video Zone.
Journey back in time as Full Moon tells the story of how Andre Toulon became the Puppet Master and how the puppets fans have grown to love didn't always look the way they do
Retro
now.
George Robot.
Puppet Master.
I would like to welcome you to the real world. The world of magic, of gods, and of monsters.
For effects artists Chris Bergschneider and Jeff Farley, the daunting task of creating 6 new puppets based on Charles Band's original designs proved to be a welcome challenge.
I got kind of excited, at least, because I was getting a little sick of seeing all the old puppets, and they were starting to get a little, I think they're starting to get a little tired. I think the public was starting to get tired of seeing them, too.
Yes, the nice thing about sequels is the opportunity to keep an idea alive, yet with some fresh avenues. And the thing, I had to agree with Jeff, that the advantage to making, new characters and some, how would you say, historical or ancestral versions of some of the ones we know, like Pinhead or Tunneler or Retro Blade. Those were kind of fun with the new guys like Dr. Death and Cyclops. And
Cyclops guy.
Cyclops is one of the new ones that's basically an older grandfather, perhaps a great uncle to people like Torch or Decapitron, which are the more current characters. But it's still a lot of the same vein where you have somewhat a level of action going on with some really decent characters. But I have to say, there's always an apprehension when you're playing around with established icons, no matter what it is, whether it's, the new Enterprise or a new Coke bottle design or a new puppet, especially like a retro tunneler, something that somebody has already seen before. You do have to keep a certain flair. It's like redesigning the Frankenstein's monster. You've got to keep a certain touch with the grounding with the original designs. Yet the nice thing was we were able to take it in a new direction and to really give it some things that made them, as far as I think Jeff and I both felt, more puppet. They really looked more like they were puppets and not perhaps little toys or things like that. Because in actuality, more so I think than in some of the other films, you get to see these guys worked as puppets and treated as puppets.
Don't you know, my friend? Smell the sulfur. Feel the heat of the flames.
We could be nowhere else but hell.
As far as the design went, though, we kept things pretty much the same as far as like the look, the heads. I sculpted to retain as much as the original idea to keep it something that Charlie could see that was followed through from start to finish.
Yeah, the original artwork was pretty well defined, and it helped us a lot in as much as Charlie was very focused as to where he really wanted these guys to go. He did want to stay away from some of the more garish or not realistic attempts, but more the modern turns that some of the puppets had, even for their time periods. And some of them seemed a bit, highly evolved for the 1940s, whereas Charlie was very concerned about making sure they really, really fit the period.
And Blade. Drill Sergeant. Dr. Death. Cyclops.
For the actors, shooting this latest adventure in Romania added an authentic atmosphere for which to work in.
Everything, the architecture, the spirit of the people, I think it's different than American. American films are very slick and good-looking for the most part, but this brings the old world to it, and that's what it needs, the old world. It's not just a horror film or a thriller, it's a love story too, between Turan and Ilsa, and their loyalty to each other. So there are many dimensions.
Is the old man? Or is the young man?
We'll just see how much of that faith he has left.
Look over there, young man.
It's okay, Hank. It's me, Dale Gribble. I said drop the bomb.
Coming from the United States, it's going to feel like there's completely different world, different time period. Really, Europe is so different from the States, and Eastern Europe is incredibly different. So it's just added to it 100%, and just the whole mood of the piece is just different because of just being here. So
I hadn't seen the other Puppet Master movie. My character is an intimate. I thought I might have some prejudgments as to the film that we're shooting if I was immersed in what the other films are about. And this one takes place before all of them, so I don't really need to know a lot about that. And the puppets just be surprised. And I think a lot of us should be surprised when they discover it all. I didn't really expect the elaborateness that they go through for the sets and costumes and things like that. And I was very pleasantly surprised.
puppets are really interesting to me anyway to watch or see the shows that they've been. They're fascinating, and I like the magic.
Yeah, the one thing that we did not have on this was the incredible, I would just say, assistance or addition of somebody like David Allen who's stop motion. These were all done literally as puppets. They were, in some scenes they're rotted, in other scenes they're cable controlled servo mechanisms, in other scenes they're actually wired with as many as 5 and 6 and 8 marionette strings. You know you've got limitations. You've got a certain amount of time and you have to make something, one way or another practical. It has to be created one way or another, whether it's with a wire or a stick or just something smeared on front of the camera lens. But
A 15-day shooting schedule doesn't allow you that much time, especially in Romania in the winter. It was a little tough.
The highlight for the cast and crew was the return of Guy Rolfe as the elder Andre Toulon.
it was funny because as it is with any of your top end players, they're in for a very short period of time. They're like hitting in. They come in, do their job, they're taken care of, and they're gone. But when he did come in for his scenes, that you see him sort of in the very first part of the film where he's coming in cold, and opening the trunk in the little abandoned tavern or the room there, we were literally coming in out of 0-degree temperatures into an unheated sound stage. You could see your breath in the stage. It's the same old box that was there when that they've used before, and it almost seemed like when he sat down, when he walked in and opened up that thing and started talking to them, like he hadn't missed a beat. And it's fun to see that kind of familiarity, or professionalism, whichever it is. But he did seem like it almost seemed like he knew this character from before, and it was just like, this is just another page that he never got to the last time he was in front of the camera. Greg was very it was very exciting to work with in some ways, because he did add a young shot in the arm to the character, because we've all known Toulon as this wise old sage who's had a terrible existence for at least the last 50 years of his life. At least in the first 6 movies, he seemed like the poor old man, went through some serious grief. And this is a period of time where he's young, enthusiastic about what he wanted to do, but very quickly learns this is now a responsibility that's going to take him a long time to master. And even he knows, I think, at the end of the first movie, he's got a long trip ahead of him. And so it seems like we've got at least 25, 35, 40 years worth of time to catch up on. It's sort of like, sort of like Toulon in the early years.
Retro Puppet Master proved that sometimes old ideas can be more exciting than new ones. From Full Moon.
The founder of the feast. Travis's $1 billion loss is our $1 billion gain. Mr. Harrison.
I must now inform you that I am extremely displeased. Your failure compels me to take direct action to remedy this dire situation.
Now, those idiots think that we've checkmated Virgil Travis, but I know better. He's still in the game. Virgil Travis is going to try to eliminate all of us.
These are my latest acquisitions. Don't think of them as competitors. Think of them as new weapons.
Who's first?
Here we come. Mr. Vasquero, let's begin the sequence.
Somewhere normal, doing something normal. All of a sudden you got this thing in your brain. It's compulsion.
Yes.
It's compulsion. It tells you to drop whatever you're doing and get here as fast as you can, any way that you can. I know why you did it, and why you're here. It's exactly the same deal with all of us.
She's the last, the sixth one.
Brought together for a deadly purpose.
First age of fire and blood shall come again.
3 of us to do the dying, and 3 of us to do the killing.
So you have circular, right? You have circular, right?
That's why I'm doing my history homework, which isn't much, lucky. It's just a lot of writing. So I'm just doing the vocab first because it's easier.